headlines. Pope Leo XIV calls for a day of prayer and fasting for peace. Main opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP President Peter Mutharika to join campaign trail this weekend. Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative CEDED urges Malawians to vote for change. And in other news, Uganda's senior official denies agreement to take deportees from the United States of America. We have the details to these stories and more. To stay with us. Addressing the faithful gathered in Nepal, the 60th hall for his weekly general audience, Pope Leo XIV turned his thoughts once more to the world's many conflict zones. In recalling the upcoming liturgical commemoration of the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which is celebrated on Friday, 22nd August, the Pope invited the faithful to celebrate that day by praying and fasting for peace. He noted that Mary is the mother of the faithful here on earth and is remembered as the Queen of Peace. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Patrick Pupa.
As our world continues to be wounded by wars in the Holy Land, in Ukraine, and in other parts of the world, the Pope invited all the faithful to take part in a day of prayer and fasting for all those who suffer because of war, imploring the Lord to grant us peace and justice and to wipe away the tears of those who suffer because of ongoing armed conflicts. The Holy Father invites the faithful to unite in prayer and fasting on the 2 August for peace, calling for a disarmed and disarming peace in all places torn by armed conflict. He expressed hope that Mary, Queen of Peace, may intercede so that people may find the path of peace. Pope Leo also greeted Polish-speaking faithful making a pilgrimage to the shrine of Our Lady who were attending the audience. He asked them to include in their intentions the supplication for the gift of peace that is disarmed and disarming for the whole world, especially for Ukraine and the Middle East.
Patrick Pupa reading that Vatican News report. Opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP President Professor Peter Mutharika is said to start appearing in public rallies weeks after his absence, soon after launching the party's manifesto at Mjamba in Luntha. This is according to both the spokesperson Shadrach Namalomba and Secretary General Peter Mukito. These absence from the campaign ground raised eyebrows from political commentators who have questioned why the former president was missing in action. We have more details on this report filed by Robert Edward.
According to a spokesperson for the party, Shadrach Namalomba, the former president, who is also being described as the main contender in the presidential race this September, will start with the North this weekend. His coming out of the cocoon has created some insinuations of the former president being unfit for the campaign. With less than a month to the 16th September general elections, the country is in official campaign period where all aspirants are flat out convincing voters to choose them. In the 2020 fresh presidential elections, Mutharika lost the topmost seat to Chakwera by coming second in the race. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
The Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) has called on political parties and independent candidates contesting in the upcoming September 16th general elections to submit the names of monitors who shall carry out their duties fairly and in accordance with the law. MEC spokesperson Sangwani Wafurirwa told Luntha television that the monitors must be Malawian citizens regardless of whether they registered as voters or not. Charity Shilanga has more details on this report.
In his remarks, Mofrira stated that each party or candidate should have 2 monitors per polling station. He also encouraged political parties to deploy 2 monitors at each constituency and district tally center. He added that according to electoral regulations, a candidate is not allowed to also serve as a monitor. Mafrera further said the names of the monitors must be submitted to make district offices by August 31st, 2025. Additionally, he emphasized that MEC does not permit roving monitors on voting day or during vote counting, stating that the law does not allow such practice.
Well, the Malawi Electoral Commission is reminding all political parties and independent candidates that they are supposed to submit names of their representatives, also known as monitors, by the 31st of August. Each and every polling station, the law allows political parties and independent candidates to place up to 2 monitors, and then when we go up to the constituency tally center, they can also put 2 monitors. The same applies to the district tally center.
MEC also stressed that the Commission does not provide any form of remuneration, including allowances, to the monitors, saying their participation is fully sponsored by the respective political party or the person who appointed them.
Health expert George Jobe has stressed the need for Malawi to strengthen investment and reforms in the health sector to bridge the access gap between urban and rural communities. Jobe notes that while urban residents have more options such as pharmacies, drugstores, and private health facilities, rural and low-income communities continue to struggle with limited infrastructure, shortage of medicines, and lack of alternative care services. We have more details on this report filed by Judith Hogan and read in our studios by Charity Tilanga.
Jobe has made recommendations which include increasing financing to the sector by allocating more resources to health facilities in line with the Abuja declaration that requires countries to dedicate at least 15% of their national budget to health. He has also highlighted the importance of the newly introduced direct facility financing, which ensures health centers receive operational grants directly. The health expert has further called for investment in infrastructure, technology, and logistics, including construction of more health facilities, provision of ambulances, and the use of innovations such as drones to deliver medicines to hard-to-reach areas.
When it comes to the health sector and comparing the urban and the rural, the urban and the low-income communities, we are not just looking at them having equal access, but we'll be talking about equitable access, because in rural areas they have more challenges than in urban areas, especially if one goes to a health facility and is told to buy some medicines. In the urban, we have more drugstores or pharmacies, unlike in the rural areas.
Meanwhile, communities have been urged to play a stronger role through health center management committees, village health committees, and civil society networks, which can monitor service delivery, track resources, and demand accountability.
You're still watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandi Wemzumara. We go for a short break and we'll be back with more right after this break.
Watch is a citizen-led, non-partisan election observation coalition formed by the Catholic Commission for Justice and Peace, Public Affairs Committee, Gender Justice Unit, and MHAP, which deployed trained observers across all 28 districts of Malawi. We used the PRVT methodology, which is the process and results verification for transparency, to gather real-time structured data from sampled polling stations. This ensures credible, objective monitoring of election integrity, the voting environment, and results accuracy. Key findings by Chisanko Watch from 14th to the 27th of July 2025 period of campaign has shown that voter education reached 94% of districts, but outreach to youth slipped from 76% down to 57%. The reports indicate that the northern region saw a 13% increase in education activities, while central and southern regions edged downwards. The overview report also shows that campaigns were dominated by MCP with 76% and DPP with 70%, while independents surged to 75%, with 15% of rallies featuring handouts in forms of cash, food, and gifts. Police presence was also observed to be uneven, with 54% at MCP events and only 24% at independent ones. With this, 8 critical incidents, including no-go zones, sexist language, and misuse of state vehicles in campaigns, were logged by our observers. Chisanko Watch therefore calls on all stakeholders to condemn hate speech, handouts, and intimidation, to revive youth education and enforce campaign finance rules, for the police to provide balanced security and investigate offenses, for traditional and religious leaders to stay neutral, while citizens have been urged to report irregularities and check facts. Together, we can ensure credible, inclusive, and peaceful elections in Malawi. To learn more, visit the Chisanko Watch website at www.chisankowatch.org or follow us on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn at Chisanko Watch. Stay informed. Stay engaged.
Welcome back. Before we proceed, here's another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV calls for a day of prayer and fasting for peace. Main opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP President Peter Mutharika to join campaign trail this weekend. Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative CIDED urges Malawians to vote for change. And in other news, Uganda's senior official denies agreement to take deportees from the United States of America. Proceeding with the news, the Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative, CIDED, has urged Malawians to vote for leaders who will prioritize their needs and work towards the country's development. According to Sylvester Namiwa, Executive Director of CIDED, it is high time Malawians stopped being oppressed in their own country and used their votes to bring about change. Namiwa made these sentiments on Wednesday in Lilongwe during a press briefing, emphasizing that by voting wisely, citizens can elect leaders who will address the pressing issues facing the country and work towards creating a better future for all. Emmanuel Ojuocha has filed this report.
Namiwa highlighted the importance of land as a fundamental resource that sustains life. He emphasized that citizens' rights are being violated when they are denied access to land or have their land grabbed by foreigners in exchange for basic necessities like clothes and maize. Namiwa specifically mentioned districts like Cholo, Mulanje, and Kasungu, where citizens are facing land-related challenges, he noted that the country is facing numerous challenges, including high maize cost, sugar scarcity, and presidential power immunity, which need to be addressed by the incoming leaders.
Land crisis that makes it practically impossible to preach about food security and the expansion of productivity for export. We need to overhaul all the laws governing land in Malawi. They are favoring the elite at the expense of the vulnerable and the marginalized that are voters. The second issue is concentration of too much powers in a single person. That's the office of the president. That makes it practically impossible to fight corruption and fraud. We cannot proceed like that. We need those people that are availing themselves up for election into the highest office. They should make a commitment to trim the presidential powers so much that we should be able to fight meaningfully corruption and sustain the fight.
Meanwhile, SEDED has called all political parties to be accountable for their promises in their manifestos. The organization has emphasized the need for Malawians to choose leaders who have the welfare of the nation at heart. The organization believes that the upcoming elections presents an opportunity for Malawians to shape their future and determine the country's direction. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chuocha.
Presidential candidate for United Transformation Movement UTM party, Dr. Dalitso Kabambe, has asked people of Chatata, Lumbadzi and Chiwamba in Lilongwe to vote for him because he has expertise in economics and agriculture. He made these remarks on Wednesday during whistle-stop tours in the respective areas. In his remarks, UTM Director of Operations Kwesi Msusa concurred with Kabambe, appealing to Malawians not to vote out of mercy or habit, because Malawi needs Kabambe to fix economic challenges, who is an expert in economics. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
During the 3 whistle stops which UTM conducted in some parts of Lilongwe, Dr. Dalitso Kabambe repeatedly told people to vote for him because he has solutions to the economic challenges which the country is facing. Kabambe also promised that if people vote for him, they will establish mining sites, which will help to boost the country's economy. He has also reminded the people that Chakwera's government has failed to fulfill its promises.
Ya Federeza Subsidy Program tinkapanga nthawi ya malemu apingwa mutalika ansusa kuuzani ine nthawi imene ija ndili budget director ntchito yanga nali kukasaka ndalama ndikuzika mu ntchito za boma. Imodzi mwa ntchito za bomazo inali ya Federeza Subsidy Program chifukwa ine ndimadziwa popanda Federeza palibe ulimi ungatheke iyayi. Chotero program ya Federeza Subsidy Program ija tikudzayiyambiranso mwezi wa mawa. Ifa UTM tikayikida mboma ndiye kuti ulimi wa chaka chino tidzapatsidwa Federeza Subsidy Program monga timalandilira kale. Mafumu agogo adzole ndi mafumu onse monga mumalandilira nthawi ya malemu apingu. Program ene ija Federeza wa mafumu.
Director of Operations Kwesi Msusa asked Malawians to vote for UTM and Dr. Kabambe because he has all it takes to be the Malawian leader. Kwesi Msusa has also said that other presidential candidates have no expertise in economics, which is the main problem for the country. Meanwhile, only 27 days are remaining for Malawians to cast their votes for presidential candidates, ward councillors, and members of parliament on 16th September 2025. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Now, in other news, a senior Ugandan official has denied a U.S. media report that the country has agreed to take in people deported from the United States, saying it lacked the facilities to accommodate them. Citing internal U.S. government documents, CBS News reported on Tuesday that Washington had reached deportation deals with Uganda and Honduras as part of its drive to step up expulsions of migrants to countries where they do not have citizenship. Okello Oryem, State Minister for Foreign Affairs, told Reuters by text message that, to the best of his knowledge, they had not reached such an agreement. We have more details on this Reuters news report, read by Patrick Popper.
President Donald Trump aims to deport millions of immigrants who entered the U.S. illegally, and his administration has sought to increase removals to third countries, including by sending convicted criminals to South Sudan and Eswatini. The CBS report said the agreements with Uganda and Honduras were based on a provision of U.S. immigration law that allows people seeking asylum to be rerouted to third countries if the U.S. government determines those nations can fairly hear their claims. Uganda, a U.S. ally in East Africa, also hosts nearly 2 million refugees and asylum seekers who mostly came from countries in the region such as Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Sudan. According to BBC News, so far at least a dozen nations have agreed to accept deported migrants from other countries. Last week, the U.S. State Department announced it had signed a safe third country agreement with Paraguay to share the burden of managing illegal immigration. The White House has also been actively counting several African nations, with Rwanda saying earlier this month it will take up to 250 migrants from the U.S. Earlier this year, Panama and Costa Rica agreed to take in several hundred African and Asian migrants from the U.S. Government documents show the Trump administration has also approached countries like Ecuador and Spain to receive deported migrants.
That story brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before you go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV calls for a day of prayer and fasting for peace. Main opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP President Peter Mutharika to join campaign trail this weekend. Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative CEDED urges Malawians to vote for change. And in other news, Uganda's senior official denies agreement to take deportees from the United States of America. My name is Tandy Wemzamara. Thank you for keeping me company and do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. And do remember that for these stories and more, do follow our Facebook page, Luntha Television, and YouTube, Luntha TV Official. Goodbye for now and do stay safe.